Hi, I'm Bill Stevens. I've been with NACL coming on 34 years. Started with day programs and went into residential and had a very happy long career working in residential, providing aid and care and support for whoever is needing it.
Hi, my name is Leanne Fraser, and I've been a member of Nanaimo Association for Community Living for 34 years, and I am proud to be living in the Uplands Community Housing, and I am proud to have employment for the NACL Works program.
My name's Graham Morey. I've been with the agency since 1990. I've been the Executive Director for the last 25 years. I started in 1990 as a volunteer, and then I quickly got a job within the first week.
Hi, I'm Phyllis Horn. I'm on the board of directors with NACL and parent to child, who is a person served by the organization and also an employee of the organization. Been with the organization about 15 years.
Hi, my name is Paul Best, and I've been involved with NACL since about 1989, I think, when I was hired to do some staff training for the new group homes that they were opening up. And I then went to work at Malaspina, which became VIU, and Graham asked me to come on the board, and I've been on and off the board since that time.
Well, my initial involvement with NACL was because the institutions were closing, right? Glendale was closing, and there were a number of people who were coming back to Nanaimo area, and they wanted a nonprofit to be in the business, so they encouraged a nonprofit to form, and I think NACL started off with 4 homes at that time. Yeah. And so they had to staff up, right? Had to staff up, so that's one of the reasons I was hired to train staff. And that was the same across the province, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The industry just went gangbusters when you're talking about 3 institutions closing down, 1,000 people coming into the community. Each person requires, 5 people to support them or 6 people to support them?
All told, it's about 20 to operate a group home with casual and all that.
So really had to ramp up staffing, and a lot of people weren't trained, and that was the same reason why the colleges started ramping up community support worker programs, and that's why Malaspina in those days wanted to get into biz.
Right.
I remember coming with Bill, the executive director, to look at a house right on Uplands Road here that was in contention when they were looking to buy Hammond Bay.
Right.
And they bought Hammond Bay, and Jingle Pot was a bare lot, and the quickest way to get the house up, it was a prefab house.
Right.
So I remember going on there. That would have been Project 89. Project 90 was Morningside and Uplands, I think.
Metro maybe too, right?
Metro, right, yeah. 90, and then 91 was the others. But yeah, it grew quite quickly, quite fast. And I remember going from, I had a background in residential from Alberta, and so when it opened up, I was glad to jump on that to get going on the facilitation. And I remember it's the bare bones empty house, going and get the dishes and the staffing one day and buying furniture the next, and we had to fly at it. They were coming out and we had to be ready.
Yeah.
Pretty intense back then.
Yeah, and I know that I was involved in developing some properties in Victoria for Community Living Victoria, and in those days you really had to just go where there was lots available, right? So you couldn't really pick your spot. You had to jump into the market where the market was.
It really was. And zoning was a bit of an issue then too, as it can be now. But it seemed that NACL did make the good choices. They got things settled quite quickly, and things did work out quite well. Mass hirings to get all those people on board.
Well, my first week was volunteering at Morningside, moving furniture in.
Yeah, exactly.
Staff turned over, I think, in the first week, and so you want a job?
That's right.
I just remember the fear from people when they moved in, because it was such a huge cultural change. Going out in the community was.
That is what I see. Even I worked last night, and I see that the fear is gone, the comfort is there, and that's what the 35 years is worth. It is more valuable than anything. That relaxation factor we get from having comfortable people in a secure place, and promising their parents that would last. That was a big part of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the parents kind of were, you know, when they had their children go to live in the institutions, they were told that that would be for life.
Yes.
Right, so some families weren't terribly happy
right.
with their kids coming home because they hadn't bargained on them coming home.
I remember we had when there was just the 4 homes to start out, we had a family get together once a month.
Mm-hmm.
And that was for parents to get together, to
Right.
talk to staff about how the day-to-day is going and how things are settling. And it wasn't specifics on the individuals, but it was just increasing their comfort level with the situation, meeting the staff frontline face to face. And that went on, I'd say it was a good successful year, and it really helped those parents get past.
And now this has turned into a billion-dollar industry, hasn't it?
1.2, I think CLBC's budget is now, so yeah. And our budget's gone from, I think it was under $1 million when I started to my 15.
And it is just the increased demands, the needs. I remember back when you started as executive director, you came to us at a meeting mentioning there would be 10,000 needed spaces in the next 10 to 20 years as the need for community living grew.
Yeah, and that's growing again.
Yeah. But we branched out into good things. We're proof of it right here. Really is.
Yeah, it's turned out very well.
Yeah.
I
Phyllis?
came on board when group homes were maybe being looked at as not the only answer, and when home share programs were started and people were starting to live out in the community one at a time. But I remember having a board conversation at one point with someone who had been looking after their child in their home. And I think I was feeling sort of like, well, my child needs something better. And she kind of looked at me like, oh my goodness, how spoiled you are with all the services you get now and how well looked after. And there you are asking, for more. And yes, I did ask for more, and now we're evolving into different kinds of housing arrangements, and we're sitting in the common room of one of the newest housing arrangements for NACL. It's evolved a lot.
There really is, after looking at the years of residential care, there really is a bonding in the people in homes, to each other, to the situation, the comfort level. Yes, they have the good days and bad days, as everyone does, but the small bit home does give a home feeling, and the home smell of cooking. You come in on Thanksgiving and there's a turkey,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Christmas is an event, and things are events, birthdays are events, and that's something that is nice to share with people when they relax in the situations and enjoy the whole community living thing. Unfortunately, as people age more, I've found in the homes that I'm dealing in, less outings, less recreation. We just can't, the pace isn't there where it used to be for age reasons. But there's a lot of youthful people out there doing things and getting out there and doing what we did 20 years ago. Load them up and head out to the park. That's right. Have lots of fun in the day, not about work, about enjoying the day for what it is. Yeah. It is professionally managed, I think. From being a frontline person and seeing how it all clicks along. 30 years ago, it was pretty chaotic, seat in the pants thing. You didn't know what was going on. Before it was unionized, it was a very haphazard way of hiring and firing, and it wasn't very structured. But now we've got a good management team that has taken on immense responsibilities, like I said, multi-million-dollar budgets, and with the same basic premise that we started out for. It isn't to make NACL the biggest and the best, it's to provide the care that the people need. I don't think NACL has been out there touting their hat like we're the best or anything else. We're just plugging along. The grind will get us through it all.
Yeah, because the getting bigger was easy, and wasn't it? Because the government was always looking for for us and other agencies to take on more service. The hard part was getting better as you get bigger.
Yes.
Because that was difficult. And I think that accreditation sort of helped to set the table for that, right? Like I think accreditation in and of itself doesn't mean you do good work, but it kind of sets a framework for doing a good job.
Yes.
Yeah, accreditation's interesting because you can really take it to heart, or you can still get through it and not take it to heart. So
Yeah.
it's it's embedded in our culture now, and everything we do is
And you see
kind of
places
focused
where,
on.
where
Well,
that
as we
hasn't
know,
been the case.
yeah. So that's the unfortunate thing with it. When people tout their accreditation as being end all be all, it's not.
Yeah.
So you have to live and breathe it. I think our turning point was when we really got person centered, which was not that long ago, 2005. That really also, because our first accreditation was 2005 as well, and we started our first training with person centered planning. That's taken 15 years to really be ingrained, but it's, I think, really turned and improved our service dramatically.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I just think we've gotten better at figuring out what people's needs are and gotten more diverse. I think the diversity in services and housing arrangement is revitalized. Agency and the staff too. It's
And I think that having that dynamic between people's needs and people's wants is very important, because we have that has to be a balance, right? It's fine for other people to say what people's needs are, but we have to listen to the kinds of lives that people want to lead, and they might be different than the lives we would like them to lead, and they might be different values than we have ourselves. And I think learning how to respect that is important.
In speaking about that, I think Graham will probably agree that when we started out back years ago, we were dealing with a lot of issues and a lot of very different individuals, but we always saw the individual first, and our care and our behavior practices and all of daily routines always were trying to focus on what the person's needs were. We had to manage the home properly, but it still got down to that. We've got to give the individual attention to the people, and that was the core of the person-served thing. And I think we saw that. Some staff did that. You've got to take everybody as being a little different, focus their strengths on their individuality, make them feel good about themselves. And I think that's where NACL has done well, and the staff and people we have really seem to want to build up self-esteem in people. The good staff really are strong individuals to build trust and confidence, and it's shown with the success we had in the residences, settling in and feeling a home spirit.
And I think one of the things that's happened too, with the younger generations coming in, they come out of high school kind of expecting that they should work, that they should have jobs. So I think we try to adapt and change the philosophy that we don't just provide recreation, but also access into the workplace.
Yes.
I met NACL about the time when my daughter and I were going around the downtown neighborhood trying to get a business started, because Lisa thought she would like to run her own business. And so we were going around from office to office to try to decide, to see if somebody would take her up on her offer to do scanning. So she was going to scan old documents, and we thought that was probably a very good thing for her to. And that's how Lisa got her first, how she got her job with NACL, which was very cool. And she has been part of that family for a long time. How many? 10? 12 years, yes. And it's been a very big part of her life.
I remember when the day program started out, there were people when we were expanding and we were getting more and more needs, people were coming in from all over Drumheal and all kinds of places and showing up, and it was very busy times. But we still tried, if someone had an interest in a job, we try and squeeze a few hours a week to get them to try something out. You know? And just, even if it was, you have to shuffle a few things around to try things. Ultimately, it wasn't the greatest success because we just weren't set up for that at the time. You know, the day programs were what they were for doing things in the community. And so those individual job things kind of fell apart, but they picked back up with NACL Works. You know, it all did fall back into place, and we're trying hard. And I think I worked last night with a lady who was blind, and that is increased workload for the staff, but we're so glad to help out to promote community living past our population of people we serve, and also too the whole staffing model has got to change with the times. And some people are a little hesitant about that kind of thing, you know, taking on other responsibilities on your job, but it really increases the depth of caring and the depth of tolerance and everything to people. It is a good thing.
Yeah, it's interesting, the demand for recreational day programs. It's just people don't want it. They want jobs. They're quite clear. So it is really pushing the changes in the traditional day programs into more of a employment focused skill development. So it's really cool to see, actually. So.
Yeah, I think the attitude is sort of like, okay, well, it's not what the community can do for me anymore. I want to be out there doing something for my community, you know, involved.
What do you think? Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think the younger people coming out of the high schools, they have those expectations, don't they?
Yeah, they
Totally.
do. Yep.
They're not interested in kind of being babysat there.
Nope.
Yeah.
You know, they want
Very
support
much.
to get a job and to be successful in a job and to have that become part of their community.
Yes. That's right.
What do you think, Leanne,
What do I
about
think?
your job?
Well, I'm very proud to say about, you know, the NACL Works program and how much they have, you know, changed me, you know, because I've been asking about, you know, employment inclusion for all in the community, and, you know, look where I am today. I mean, I love work, and I got a whole lot of compliments at work about how well I'm doing and keeping the offices clean, and I just wanted to thank NACL Works, and I just wanted to say a big thank you to NACL for, you know, letting me come in. I feel included, and I'm just really, really proud. So thank you to all. Well, my favorite experiences with NACL is, you know, going to all of the events, like the NACL barbecue that was held down at Mathville Sutton Park. But now, due to COVID, I mean, like, I really, really miss the NACL barbecues, you know, because when I went down there, when I got off work, you know, I interacted with people, you know, I have a lot of friends who I see through the programs, and I have a whole lot of friends who I see in the community. But now, you know, like many years ago, I've been in home share, and I've always dreamed of, you know, being a part of something that I belong to, and that's where I am today. And NACL has done so much, you know, like if I ask for something, or like if there's a concern, or if I need to talk, then I can come to you guys. But, you know, like, I have a lot of, you know, like, support and help, and, you know, like, I'm just really, really thankful.
I think that whole that whole sense of community has been lost, hasn't it? During COVID, has really.
It's been hard.
You know, it's been hard for
Yeah.
people that
Yeah.
like to socialize and be social, and if coming together in a group was through NACL, then that hasn't really happened over the last year and a half. And
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Talking to some of the staff now that are on, and there's some newer ones that have come on, and they've worked their whole, you know, over a year with NACL and haven't done any outings at all. And
Yeah,
never
yeah,
run
yeah.
out to a McDonald's or a restaurant.
I've done a job wearing a mask the
Yeah,
whole time.
that's right.
Yeah.
They're looking at they're really questioning the senior staff, like, you actually go out and do that? It's like, yeah, that's the fun part of the job, getting out there and
Yeah.
doing things and just enjoying a nice sunny day and walk in the park, or go to the off-leash park and look at dogs, whatever it might be. It's, you know, it is the fun part of the job. Get the daily grind stuff done and go have fun.
What's your favorite memory, Bill?
I was thinking about that since we brought that up. I think the favorite memory is the trip to West Edmonton Mall years ago with a couple fairly high needs individuals that was a very busy, hectic time that was so much fun for everybody involved. And to have that excitement of the trip, the whole home felt the excitement of us going away and that, wow, they're gonna get on a plane and do this, you know?
Well, this is a pretty easy one for me because the day that people moved into here was pretty special because it had been such a long journey to get here, and you know, looking back over the years where we kind of gave up on it, and so when it actually happened was pretty.
Yes.
It's kind of
It
my
gives me
moment.
goosebumps, Graham, because my favorite moment was the breaking of the ground when we had that ceremony, and it was so moving, just amazingly moving. To think that we could imagine something and see it because of NACL, because of the persistence,
After
see it actually
A lot of
realized.
fights and a lot of
Fight.
Well, and a lot of changes. Everybody, yeah, it was good, and I just, it was a great learning experience for myself too, and just the way that everybody pulled together, so it was pretty cool.
I don't know if I can do it justice, but at some point, our younger generation who have grown up with higher expectations and expect to have jobs also grew up with the notion that they should have their own homes and a place that they could call their own, where they could be quite independent, as independent as they could be. And so Uplands was that notion that people could, well, and there was another piece to it actually as well, and that was they also just grew up with the notion that they should socialize, and they should be able to socialize without assistance from like a day program or a weekend program, so that they should be able to just sort of get together, which proved to be a little difficult when they're out living in the community dispersed all over the place, because somebody would have to drive them and someone would have to pick them up, and not everybody was willing to do that, and especially not on weekends. So their social lives, so the idea was not only would they have a place of their own, but they would have a place where they could socialize with their buddies, and Uplands was that dream. So they live independently in their own places. They have staff here to support them if and when they need it or want it, and they also have their neighbors to socialize with. So it's a pretty huge dream come true.
Yeah, and you know, we're coming up on our first year here, and I think the community, well, maybe Lan can speak to that best, but it's really come together with, you know, just folks living here together and supporting each other. It's kind of, that was the vision, and it's come to fruition. So, what do you think?
Well,
a pretty comfy place to live?
Yeah, it's a dream come true, because to me and for all of us for community living, you know, this is a dream, this is a reality, and this is our place to call home. You know, like, we have a lot more freedom, we have a lot of independence, but you know, for the most people that, you know, really want to have the more affordable, accessible community, or to have more more choices, and you know, like wanting to build a better life, it's like a lot of people ask, you know, I want to be able to have a job. I want to be able to, you know, take public transit, and I want to be able to, you know, have like work where I can obtain the skills, you know, and, you know, just do something good for yourself, you know, because you're out there, you're living your best life that you can. And, you know, for NACL, I mean, it's like a dream, you know, and we're facing reality.
Which
do feel
brings
good.
to mind another very favorite memory, which was the day that we were moving Lisa into here. And Christina came out of her door, and she's living at the other end of the building, and hugs all around and let me help you. And off she went. And I thought, that's
all
what I
about.
dreamed about, is
That's what it's all about.
everybody
Yeah.
helping each other.
The closeness, and as the years go by, there will be more trust and more friendships and bonding happening. People.
And as the younger people move in and
Yeah.
hopefully more of these kinds of developments happen, it'll happen sooner.
Next door.
Yeah, hope so, yes. So the other thing about NACL, and this is about the family and about walking the walk and talking the talk. Lisa, my daughter, is always trying to organize events and parties, many times. And NACL has tried very hard to help with some of these events. But I think that where I really saw that walking the walk, that inclusiveness, that yes, we want to be your friend too, was one of Lisa's birthday events at the restaurant, when I don't know how many of the NACL staff showed up to make her event, her birthday, like something that she had pulled off to me, that kind of commitment to the job, that kind of commitment to the organization is just it's hard to compete with that anywhere
why we're
else.
here. Yeah,
I just think it's amazing.
yeah.
And then as a parent, one more thing to say. The idea that when I leave the world, I think that this organization will still be here. And if my daughter's still here, I know she's looked after.
Yes.
That's a huge deal.
That whole concept of that, when you're not here, who's going to take care of things,
Yeah.
is really a foundation for a successful group home, in that you trust the people you're with, and you go home and you know that people are in good hands. It doesn't always, some days there's new staff, things are a little upset, but generally you've got a real bonding with the people you work with, because you're dealing with the same things, the same kind of situations, and you feel a trust in that person. You're like, no, I know that they're going to handle whatever happens. They're going to get through it for the sake of the individuals. And because we all go through those things, whether it's emergency ward visits at 2 a.m. or whatever it might be, we've all gone through them, and we're good about relating how the stress level was, and being able to talk each other through things, and relating that this is community living and this is what we're here for. And the tougher the battle, the better you feel about the job at the end. You really do. Yeah. And it does make a good team effort if you get a good people. When Graham was at Morningside there, we had, I think, a pretty good team going, and a lot of communication, a lot of pretty dedicated staff that were
Under some pretty intense
pretty intense
working
events.
conditions there.
It sure was. It was very chaotic at times, but just the core group that stayed together managed to ride those things through and did very well at possibly more correction than would be allowed now. I think just through the fact that the people were in such serious need of help. It's pretty hard to watch somebody hurt themselves and not step in. It just is. So, but the team spirit, like you say, makes people realize that NACL will carry on. And I think I mentioned this at one of my staff appreciation things, that I know it's going to be here a long time after I'm gone.
He said.
Yeah. It provided me the good, steady job that I enjoyed. It really impacted my life hugely.
It's provided me with a good steady job too, unpaid.
Unpaid job. Yeah.
Yeah.
From my end, just the personal growth and the challenges and the crises and getting through them, being able to keep your eye on the ball when all is collapsing around you
Yes.
has been a I think that's what I've got out of this and the people. Lots of very, very solid people around us. It's made it possible. So.
Well, and seeing, believing that people lead better lives if they have relationships in the community, and believing that in theory, but actually seeing it in practice, it just reinforces that notion that and it's not just for the people we serve, but it's for all of us too. That our lives are richer when we have people in our lives who are there because they want to be in our lives, not necessarily because they have to be in our lives.
Yeah.
And that people are safer in their lives as well if there's more transparency, if there's more people in their lives. The institutions had policy manuals that you could trip over, but they weren't safe places for people to live, as we find out.
Yeah.
And it's very true, the whole community spirit goes to that when you're out in the grocery store, you're at the park, you see people that you've worked with and other individuals in the association past years, and you see people from day programs out doing this and that, and you recognize the people, and nice to give them a wave, and that's community living, is that everyone's all in the city together enjoying things. Hopefully we get right back out there after COVID and have some good events.
Oh, we will. I think, what I've noticed is the change in the community since the early days when we weren't really accepted.
Yes.
Especially in Nanaimo in the early 90s, and how widely supported and welcomed we are everywhere, and that wasn't always the case. So that's been a really, very powerful to see that turn around, and just the people as a whole more accepting.
This organization is just like, it's like the same as like having other family around, they're just like, that's part of your life. It's just, NACL is just like having an aunt or a mother. It's just there.
How has it impacted me? Well, working. Because to me, when I'm out there in the community living my best full life, I'm actually giving back to something. Because to me, like when I get like a good morning, a hi, how are you? And because when I clean the offices, I always get a compliment of, you're doing a very good job, very, very focused on, I'm just giving back, and I feel really, really good, really, really good, and I'm powerful, because I take a step forward and I don't take a step back. I love it. I love living here, because I see people I know, and, like if there's somebody new, I say good morning or a hi, or, welcome to the Uplands Community Housing, and, like I interact with the staff and the activities I love. I came through NACL and the Actions Day program, I really, really enjoy the clients, I enjoy the staff, the activities are something I look forward to, and I'm living a better, happier life, and I could not be more grateful about how well I've grown and to become a very independent woman. I love it. If I didn't have NACL, I would not want to go back to home share. I lived in Lanceville for many, many years, and I've always, thought in my mind to have my own place, and it came true, and it's reality. It's a blessing. Because for most of my friends that I talk to, if I see them at Special Bowling, or if I see them on public transit, they always ask me, how hard it is to get a job. And yes, it is hard to get a job. You have to go out there and actually, look around and think, if I work where anybody else works, they can get they can get training, or, they can get support. And that's why NACL works, I mean, like, actually go to like NACL Works and say, can you help me find a job? Can you help me find a job? Yeah. But I think today, yeah, it's a blessing. I have pursued my dreams because many years ago in the past, it didn't actually happen then and there. I actually had to make it come true. I had to make it come true, and it was a reality, you know, because I had talked about wanting to get my own place, and my home share provider and my mom said, you're not ready because there's a lot of skills. There's shopping, there's budgeting, there's laundry. But for my mother, Mark Fraser, I mean, my mom is like my angel, and she's like my teddy bear because she's always there, and I'm so grateful to have her. I'm very, very grateful to have my mom in my life and to have her as my support.